So now number B, how the use of ritual tassels on robes highlight biblical text. This tassel we're talking about, the rabbis say it's God said they must have blue. The blue dye. One of the cords. And it's to remind them of the Ten Commandments. Because the numerical value of tzitzit, the tassel, plus the cords and the knots give the 613 commandments. And God's holy name, God is one, is also there. So it's a reminder. A reminder that every Israelite also had a little bit of their dye. So why? To remind him that he's a priest. Because God said, I want you to be a holy nation. And when the sun just came onto the temple from the Mount of Olives here, that's when they could distinguish between the blue and the white, and they said prayers. And yeah, it's all about it. That had to be on the corner of their robes, these tassels, like this. Yeah, here's the robe there, with a hole in the middle. Yes? And on each corner, the tassel, like that. Okay? I bought that in Jerusalem. Now, so I've just shown you on each corner. Now in Zechariah it says, it talks about the corner of the robe as kanaf. And when we read about Ruth and Boaz, Ruth was a Gentile, Boaz Jewish. And Ruth became ancestor of David and Jesus. What did she do? She spread the corner of Boaz, including the tassel. That's to indicate him, marry me. You see? And okay, now when Saul came into a cave and David was hiding there, he cut off one of his tassels and took it to him. That's like part, if you cut somebody's tassel off, it's like part of you're taking over his kingship, as it were. So it's the kanaf, it's edge. Edge means tassel. That's what I'm trying to get over here. And in the Psalms, we talk about the healing in the wings. So it also stands for wing, these tassels. Now, you see this picture? This is in Magdala by a Catholic church. They don't put tassels. They put the edge of the garment. But I have put the tassel I've just received from Israel with the authentic, genuine dye of the snow. It's amazing. They have rediscovered it. So this is wrong picture. They never had prayer shawls in the time of Jesus. What? Here's a prayer shawl. They made the flag of Israel from a prayer shawl. I mean, that was the first flag of Israel using the blue stripe. But they never had, you see the tassels are all white. For 1400 years, the Jews have had no blue. Now they've got blue. That's why I'm doing this talk. So, in Matthew, Jesus says they wear the Pharisees, they're wearing the too long. Their tassels are too long because there was no limit to them, making themselves look holier than they are. But the NIV slips in of their prayer shawls. It's wrong. There were no prayer shawls. And I can prove that from the Greek version of the Old Testament. It used the same word as the Greek New Testament for fringe. When a woman touches his fringe, it says here, Matthew 9, touch the fringe, like I've got there. The NIV puts edge, because they don't want Jesus to look Jewish. That's what other scholars say. It's sad. It's like anti-Semitic. Now I'm going to do the how did the history and archaeology of blue dye lead to its rediscovery. First, the history and archaeology. I've been here to Crete. This is where King Minos sat, and I sat there, and this chair is in the International Court of Justice, because they believe this man was judge of the world, the first judge of the world. So as if the International Court of Justice is judging the world. You know, it's judging Israel. And he goes, here in Crete you can see the bull. See, there's connection between that other bull and this bull, and people vaulting over the bull. But this esophagus, you know, with the dead body in, I want to give you a close-up there. It's very difficult to see, but they are blue, genuine. This is from the snail blue and from the purple, and so they've proved these people in Crete were the first to use the dye. And guess what? It's from the time of Abraham. That's how old. Then Egypt, Tel Amarna. Yes?
Yes.
They are our next clue because there are letters there. And this letter is the oldest record of the dye, the blue and purple. How did this happen? Well, the one pharaoh, Tutmos IV, is the first one to have a political marriage. In other words, with a princess from Mitanni, which were the enemies. He got married, and his son also got married, and in the Amarna letter says, the king of Mitanni says, oh, I'm sending with my daughter blue and purple dyed cloth, which shows they were a gift fit for the pharaoh. That's what I'm trying to do. And of course God, the Egyptians gave to the Israelites, and God said, use it for my purposes. Because the high priest is like a king. So it's that blue. Now, the next thing is this. You might have heard Hercules' dog got bit into the snail and got the dye. But actually they copied it from Phoenicia, that it goes back to their Melkarth, their god was walking on the beach with a nymph, and the dog got the dye, and the nymph said, oh, please make me a dress of this dye. So they got into dyeing, and this is on the Phoenician coin. You see, there's the dog, and there's the shell. Yes? And we could see in Israel the dyeing installations, and believe it or not, when the Babylonians burnt down Jerusalem, they must have got dyed cloth, because they took it to Babylon, and there's blue dye from the snow, blue and purple, but this is a saddlecloth, went all the way to Siberia. These people, Scythians, they rode bareback, but with saddlecloth, not with saddles. And that's still showing the dye after 2,500 years. That it shows Osiris. I've been there too, in Iran. Don't ask me, I got to these places. This is 1974, and when the Greeks in 333 BC defeated the Persians, they went in. They looked inside here, and they found all this dyed cloth, which of course they took. So now, what about Dor? I did excavation here in 1980, and we excavated all over here, and we found the pools where the snails were kept alive until ready for dyeing. and all the shells and amphora, everything smashed, and inside they found where the cloth had been dyed, and a piece here shows dye. They can analyze it. This is the genuine dye, and there are all the snails, the shells cracked, and they also found evidence of people, the 3 processes in weaving, and you see all these weights here. So I'm just telling you, there are all the weights. So now we jump to when Herod died, 4 BC, just after Jesus was born, covered with a purple cloth. So, it's still important in Jesus' time. And he's buried in line with the center of his swimming pool up to this Herodium. They found his tomb. And guess what? In Jerusalem, they found one of these shells. That's how it looked. What's it doing in Jerusalem? So it's believed that when the priests were selling this dyed cord for their tassels, over here, there's the Temple Mount. Over here, where the priest's house, they had the shell to prove to the people this is genuine. Just like I want proof that that's genuine, this is not genuine. That's the thing. How can you tell the difference? The Talmud says only God can tell the difference. But now chemistry can tell us the difference as well. So, you know why? Because there's this indigo flower also produces the dye. By the way, India is named after this, indigo. And also woad, the yellow leaves can also produce the dye, but this is, you get very small amount of dye from here compared to the indigo plant. But the best is the shell. And the rabbis believe God wants it from the shell, not otherwise. Now they have found 3,000-year-old cloth with the blue dye, and they've tested it. It's not from the shell. See, so what's the difference? The one from the snail has got a bit of bromine from the sea. And they have found on the side a genuine blue dye in the casemate wall. Here's Masada and the ramp, and over here was all stones. They cleared it and they found where the zealots had been living. And you see, they found pots, and they found this dyed stuff, and how these people had committed, burnt their things before committing suicide. Yardin flying over near the Dead Sea, also the canyon, Nachal Chever. He saw this camp, the Roman camp, and he knew below there must be caves. The Romans were starving them to death. This is Bar Kokhba revolt. So they got into the cave. So the people were like that, firing down on the Romans. And there they found tunics. Now it says in the Bible, Jesus had a tunic which was of 1 piece. This is of 2 pieces. And you see, Jesus was a special tunic. They raffled for that. But the mantle, they cut into 4, so each Roman soldier had a tassel. So the men, we know, the men had, you see here, this is the design that men had. So this is also in the caves there. The women had a different design. So they found their clothing, 2,000-year-old. See, we know it's so the women because this is from an ancient synagogue. So now this is the tragedy of Christians who are not interested in the Jewish root. This is what can happen. So these are Christians They go and put the women's sign on men, which God said you mustn't do. And again, they found also in this cave a wool, dyed wool from an insect, and tassels. They found tassels. So these people couldn't get hold of the genuine thing. They got from this insect, where the female's eggs are red, and when you squash them, out comes the red dye. So they were using red dye for their tassels. And this insect is only on this oak tree in Israel. And but they have found now blue cloth with the snail dye, 2,000 year old. Now who is this? This is representing Vespasian, who loved blue. The Romans loved the purple for kings. And Jost Pliny was his very good friend of his, and Pliny was a botanist, and he wrote, he was into plants, and into dye also, so thanks to him we know how the dye was made. And just to show again, these are Roman coins, and on the Roman coins is the eagle with the snail. Ah, they loved it, and there it is. See? Now we jump to Constantine. Supposedly became a Christian on his deathbed. And we know he was covered in a purple cloth. This is 300 AD. And Justinian in 500 AD is wearing a purple cloth. Justinian outlawed. He said, anybody found with dyed cloth will be put to death. So now we know he stopped the Jews. The church stopped the Jews being obedient to God and dyeing their tassels. We have to know this. We have to face up to this. And he built that church in Istanbul, which became a mosque. And the final blow was when the Arabs invaded the Middle East in around the 600 AD, and anything Roman they destroyed, including all the dyeing installation. And so we read in the Talmud, from then on, only white tassels were worn. Yes. So by the way, exactly 666 years after Jesus started his ministry, and the voice from heaven said, "This is my son, hear him." The Dome of the Rock was built. And now I want to talk how the manufacture of blue dye, and this is the last part, how it's been rediscovered. So the first man to rediscover the dye was Duthiers in the 1870s. He saw a fisherman rub the snails on his shirt, and the yellow color turned blue in the sunlight. He knew that's the dye. That's the ancient dye. And in 1897, the Zionist Congress, first Zionist, to talk about as making a state in Israel. The same year, someone broke a thermometer in boiling naphthalene, and out came this blue dye. So, in other words, synthetic blue dye was discovered the same year that they wanted to go to Israel, and it was almost like saying, okay, now you can all dye your tassels and we can go to Israel. But the Jews want no part with this synthetic business, which is the king of dyes for jeans. By the way, jeans are usually blue. You know what? This dye, the synthetic dye, doesn't bond very well to jeans. But that's just what the young people want. They want it to be faded. They don't like it bright blue. So everybody's happy. Now, many other dyes have now been, so it's a big, big thing. And you might wonder, well, what is, the Jews stopped wearing the mantle, you know, it was out of fashion, and that's why they started with the prayer shawl. And however, some people still wanted something underneath, so they made this thing, but only white tassels. And one rabbi was very upset about this, and so when the first aquarium in the world opened in Naples, he went there and looked at all the creatures, and he said, oh, the squid, that makes ink, that's it. I'm going to make the dye for my disciples. But it was black, and he wanted blue. So an Italian chemist said, listen, what you must add to that is ox blood, iron filings, and potash, and then you'll get blue. And he got blue, and there's his seal. And so when I went to Israel and I saw this garment, I got a certificate from this rabbi's disciples. So I'll just tell you. But another man, Herzog, became the chief rabbi of Israel. He did a thesis on the dye, and he asked this rabbi for his recipe, and he proved that what this other rabbi had discovered was called Prussian blue, and not the snail dye. Yeah, is a painting by a Japanese artist using Prussian blue. Any case, my package, yeah, you can see it says Rabbi Liner discovered this, and this is genuine Techeret. Well, Herzog proved it's not. And Hitler wiped out that whole community, but some of his disciples escaped to Israel, and they asked Herzog, what did our beloved rabbi, what's his recipe? So Herzog gave it to them, and so they produced this. So Herzog disproved it, but he enabled them to continue doing the wrong thing. It's quite ironic. Now, the point is, we know it's a snail, but which one? It's that one. The murex. And you see, we have the Talmud gives us advice. It says it was a snail with like two pegs. They say it was the color of the sea, and you see it is the color of the sea. It gets a form very difficult to find in the sea. And we ought to also know that sunlight, when it comes now through the sky, the air and the dust scatters the blue. So we see a blue sky. And when you look on the horizon, the sky is red because there's no blue left. And as for the sea is so much water, it absorbs all the red, so it looks blue. So we got to know, because the Talmud says that this snail, I've told you, it gives the blue of the sky. So there you see the sky is red, there the sea looks blue, different reasons. The earth looks blue, that's just from the sky, but actually it's red. I mean, you know, the earth is mainly red. Blue is very rare. This has got nothing to do with anything else except the structure of the wings happens to scatter blue light. I mean, this lapis lazuli is blue because it was formed in the bowels of the earth with metal impurities, and it looks blue for quite a different reason. So all these are different reasons. And they've proved from the cuneiform for blue and techelet and the sky, they're all connected. And we now know that this blue is really the rarest blue. How God, I say God, I don't want to say nature, got it that when the light shines on it, it gets excited. There it is, you can see it's blue. That's from the snail. And now they know a lot about this, that when the female lays eggs, it makes, there's much more dye. You know why? Because it produces the female, to preserve the eggs, it produces bacteria, to kill germs and so on. So now they are catching them. See, in Israel is Jewish, and they're putting the baskets just like Pliny said. Pliny says the snails will go onto the baskets of rotten fish. They'll hang on with their tongues. You see, what happens is, how do these snails live? They get onto another smaller creature, and they put their foot, they make a cap, and they produce hydrochloric acid, and they slowly make a hole in the shell, and then they just suck the inside of some poor creature. And so what the trick is now, to smash the shell, remove the gland, that's what they're doing there, and they can then make powdered dye and use it when they need it. And the Talmud says you must have an eggshell just to take a sample of wool, and they find that they do need to do that because you never know what color it's going to come out. But they discovered by accident that if you take this dye from that snail and it's a cloudy day, it'll go purple. If the sun is shining, it'll go blue. We now know the chemistry why. So you can get blue and purple from the snail. And in fact, you can get 3 different colors, and that's the chemistry of it. Now, the ancient people used urine to get this. Believe it, I'm sorry to say this, but nowadays we use chemicals, see? Because we have to do reduction and then oxidation to get the colors. So now, no more white, now blue. The thing is, different rabbis over the years have had different ideas about the windings, because the Talmud tells you, the Bible doesn't tell you. So you can take your pick. So I went, thanks to Yob, I ordered, I couldn't believe it, I ordered that, but I must tell you, my personal story is, I saw this in the Jerusalem Post, the rediscovery of the blue dye. I'm this world famous professor, authority of the dye, and I wrote to him. And he actually wrote, I asked him, is this genuine? And he wrote back, he said, no, it's not genuine. But he says he has discovered the genuine snail and the way to do it. So here's his letterhead. Mr. Cole, see that? Now, he charged me 500 Rand for that tassel. I thought I would have paid 5,000, because I thought, this is ancient dye. Any case, there it came in the post. I was so excited. I'm getting something from the post, because they say there's a backlog in Johannesburg, and they say the postman only comes once every 2 weeks to my box. That's how bad it is now. And so it was quite miraculous to get it from the post. And I hope you've enjoyed the talk.
Very good. Wow.